Welcome back to the Polarion Shorts mini-series. Today we're going to take a look at project baselines. Within Polarion we have the ability to baseline at many different levels. We have previously gone through the baselining of documentation, so in individual documents that you're producing throughout your process, you can of course create a baseline at any given time point for that document. We can view these baselines in the context of the history of the individual document itself, where we can see the baselines that have been created highlighted in blue, and we can also then see our project baselines highlighted in red. The baseline documents do also form part of our collections, where we can group together those different documents in the form of that collection where we can reference a baseline version of the document, and this is something I covered off previously on one of the previous Polarion Shorts videos. Today we're going to be looking at baselines at a project level. So we can actually create a baseline at a project level where we can retrospectively go back in time to create this baseline. I can easily just click on New to create a new baseline. I can create a baseline with a name that I want to provide, and then I can go into the revision picker. By going into the revision picker, I can then select to see all the different changes. I can hone in on particular users that may have made changes, or I can just search across every single user, and we can see every single change that has been made throughout the entire history of the Polarion server. So I could actually create a baseline just for the start of today here. I can click on finish, and I've now got a brand new baseline that's been created at this revision time point that I can now go into and view exactly what the entire project looked like at that point in time. What we can also do from this screen is run comparison reports. So I can actually run a comparison report from the very start of the project to what we've got this present start of the day new baseline that I've just created. I can hit that comparison, and that comparison is going to be generated in the background. So if I dive in to see exactly what the project looked like at the very start of the project, we can see all the details in this read-only view. I can open up my work items, so I can see all the different work item types that I had. I can click into my system requirements as an example, and I can see exactly what every single system requirement looked like at this historical time point. We can see every single detail of every single item at the very start of the project that we had here. I could do the same then with my software requirements as well as an example. We could see that every single one of these was approved at this particular baseline point in time. We've also got the ability to go into the documents and pages, so not just the individual items themselves that we're looking at this time point. We could also see exactly what every single perhaps document that we had looked like at this time point as well. So here is this document that we've got of our system requirements specification in its approved state, with all the details and all the content that we had at this point in time. It's exactly what it looked like at this historical time point. We've also then got our reports, so every single report that we may have had available to us within this project, we can see the details of this. So we can see that this particular project, I had nothing in draft, I just had 48 approved requirements at this point in time. I could see my system test case coverage report and see what was or wasn't covered at this point in time as well. So all of these reports are still interactive and usable in this read-only view within the baseline. So it's really, really powerful from the perspective of if you've got an audit that needs to be done, auditors that are perhaps on site coming in, and you'll need to compile all this information, instead of at the moment where you may be frantically running around and trying to grab together different document printouts that you may have had or PDF versions that have been put together at a certain point in time. Within Polarion you can just allow the auditors to take a look at the project, go back to that specific time point and see exactly what the entire project looked like with all the individual artifacts that we've got within that project, and actually work with these live reports. Just to exit out of a baseline, we can of course then just click on the Leave Baseline X button, and we can now see that actually this report that we've got is actually producing different results. We've got 47 that are in an approved state and 4 that are currently in draft. So it is showing you exactly what the report looked like at that historical time point. Now where I created that report as well, I can just go into my show comparison reports for what we had at the start of the project compared to what we had at the start of the day. And I can look into the results of that, and we can see exactly what may or may not have existed at these different points in time. So I can see my categories. Some of my categories didn't exist, so some of these have been added in. As I scroll down, We can see all of these different details of exactly what may or may not have been included as part of this. And we can also then see for our individual work items the changes that have been made for these work items as well. So these particular system requirements that we've added in, these didn't exist previously at that previous point in time, but they do of course exist now, along with any of the other changes, any of the other items where the linkages may have been created or perhaps suspect links have been created. So all of these different time points of everything that may have changed for these individual items, everything is trackable and traceable in these baseline comparison reports. So it is really very, very powerful functionality that we can provide with Polarion to not just be able to go back in time to that specific time point, but also run comparisons to see the differences between the two projects at these two different revision numbers that we had here. So thanks very much for watching today, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.